Hey, good morning. Tony LaPorta here with NakedTrader.com. I just realized it's 8:40, and Jill has just instant messaged me and said, "Hey, are you doing a webcast today?" And I I'm like, "Oh wow, I forgot." So sorry, I'm a little bit busy with packing for my trip. I leave tomorrow, and I'll be in London for a week. I'm actually going to do a one-on-one with Dominic Picarda from Investor Chronicles. Stroke. He writes for the Weekend FT as well. So that should be an interesting webcast for next week. Just myself and Dominic talking markets. As for the markets today, it's Friday. Don't lose your ass on Fridays. Bond market is still leading the sector lower. The dollar's taken a good hit today, testing its what are these lows from? Testing its November 2010 lows. You can't hold a good stock market down. It's just the move is incredible, and we have to be getting to a point here where I don't know. I talked to a good friend yesterday, and we talked about how historically, with a 10-year note rate at 3.6%, historically this is low, and this is good for stocks. Where is that? Where does it cross the line when it's bad for stocks? Um, you know where where does $111 crude oil cross the line and it's bad for stocks? I know I pulled up to the pump last night. I was an ani, and I have a 2002 PT Cruiser that has 200 plus thousand miles on it. And I pulled up to the pump, and it cost me $50.07 to fill up my car. Now, I can afford to fill up my car for $50.07. Plus, I live in a small town, so I only fill it up, maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously, I've got a 2-hour drive tomorrow to the airport, so that's when I will eat up some gas. $50 to fill up my car is obnoxious. I mean, I can afford it, but it still pisses me off. And there's people here in America that can't afford it. There's people in here in America that are driving SUVs and cars much larger than my little PT Cruiser that gets 25 miles to the gallon. Thank you very much. Um, where will the price of crude cross the line? I speak to my friends in Chicago. It's already above $4 a gallon. I mean that's all of a sudden to fill up your car. That's for some people, that's 60, 70, $80. People eventually will have to cut back elsewhere. I remember talking to a dear friend of mine, an American friend of mine that lives in London back in 2008. I was visiting in 2008, and that's the last time the price of crude oil was through the roof. And he said to me, he says, London, knowing that I lived there for 12 years, he says, London, when the price of gasoline goes up, everything goes up. Well, they're not the only ones battling, inflation at the moment. They're not the only ones that are paying more money for the cost of, energy, for their cable bills, their internet bills. All those prices are going up, but wages aren't. So the bottom line is there's less money to be spent on holidays. There's less money to be spent on, clothing and stuff like that. So that people have to eat. People have to drive their cars. They need transportation to get to work, and those costs are going up. And people don't like it. The plain as can be, they don't like it. Joe Blow here. Joe Public on the street. He's hurting. Obviously, here in Iowa, we have farmers that are laughing all the way to the bank. We're going to be knocking on $8 corn here soon, $8 wheat, $14 beans. So the point is, I have a Dow that's up 25 points right now. When will it end? When will it end? It can't. There has to be. It's like my friend when we talked about the 10-year rate. He still thinks after the 10-year rate crosses 4%, then this rally on Wall Street might start slowing down to a certain extent. But if long-term rates continue to rise, then Wall Street is competing with notes, and here we go, and it could be all over. So I'm not sure where it is. I'm flat. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I got a long flight tomorrow and plenty of fun in London next week. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I'll be with a few friends that are clean and sober. Been clean and sober. One gentleman 12 years, the other one 6. So that'll always be good. And that's about it. So Tony LaPorta with Naked Traders signing off. Remember, if the shit's gonna hit the fan, I don't know why, but it usually hits on a Friday. I don't think we're going to see that today, but you never know. There's a long day ahead of us. Cheers. Have a great weekend.